So, ladies and gentlemen, it is great that you're here after the lunch. You are still here. And I would like to introduce you Toomas Haldma. He's a professor from University of Tartu, who were here in the previous section. You had the possibility to hear a short presentation about the University of Tartu, and that presentation can continue a little bit, but of course I see a lot of new faces here as well. Estonia, I think it is a very interesting country in many ways, and both of these things emerged in the previous discussions. First one, Estonia is very famous about its digitalization. It's a very digitalized country in many, many ways, and I hope perhaps we can see something about what happens in the university and how the universities can use this kind of opportunity. Gabriela Ketzer, who did the previous presentation, also referred to that kind of transparency and openness and everything on the website. And the second one is that University of Tartu is a very successful institution if you just take a look on rankings and in Eastern European country rankings and whatever. So perhaps we can see a little bit about that, but not just about University of Tartu, but universities in Estonia in general. So Toomas Haldma, please deliver your speech. Oh, okay, you have.
Dear colleagues, dear ladies and gentlemen, it's my greatest pleasure to be here, and I'm very grateful to the organizers of this wonderful conference, and also especially to Professor Péter Horváth for this invitation. And it's my really pleasure to highlight some Estonian experiences what concerns the performance measurement and management at the universities. My own background is connected with accounting. I'm a professor of accounting at Tartu University, but besides that, I had a chance to be a dean for 6 years, already several years ago. Also as a member of University Council Board for more than 10 years, and during the last years I have been as a head of the audit committee of the university. So that somehow I have been in touch with this topic already for several years, and then maybe it gives also some kind of background information on that topic. I'm also very grateful for previous session where Gabriela did already a very good introduction on this case. Our university itself is a pretty old one. In, let's say, 14 years, we shall celebrate our 400th anniversary. And it was founded as a second Swedish university after Uppsala University. And in this sense, Tartu was always the second one. Then the university was operating up to the Nordic War between the Russians and Swedes. And afterwards, in 1802, it was reopened as a second Russian university after Moscow University. But now we are the first Estonian language university, and next year we shall celebrate 100th anniversary as a Tartu University, as Estonian language university. Our university is the biggest one in Estonia, and with about 12,000 students, but the students' number has been declined quite substantially due to the limitation of fee-based students. The government policy changed, and fee-based students were not so, let's say, not allowed, but anyway, not so appreciated in the university, and it means also the decline. Our annual budget is pretty small one comparing with German colleagues and some other countries, but we still were able to survive. And university is including 4 areas. It's Medicina, Naturalia, Humaniora, and Socialia. And under these every 4 areas, there are already faculties and institutes. So that the faculty of, or school actually, of economics and business administration belongs beside the faculty of law and some other institutes to the Socialia area. As here was already mentioned, and it was a very pleasure to hear, what concerns the rankings, in Quizword, the university rankings for the beginning of 300. So, and also third as a university ranking in emerging Europe and Central Asia after Moscow Lomonosov University and Novosibirsk University. And after us will be St. Petersburg University, followed by Charles University, Prague. So, and as a really pleasant news for us was the Times Higher Education announcement that our university is the best university in New Europe ranking in this year. So that somehow we were able to climb up during last 5 years more than 200 places, from 500 to 300. So, but as our former rector said, position in rankings cannot be a single and main objective of the development of the university. And of course, from other side, it's still very pleasant external recognition, hopefully also independent recognition, and which gives a certain information to the partners of the university also to create better research cooperation together with partners, and also it's pretty attractive for the future students, hopefully. So, and my presentation, first of all, I'm looking a little bit about this motivation, theoretical framework of the study, and then already looking on the main findings and discussion what concerns the performance measurement and management at Estonian universities. So during the last decade, there has been significant discussions on autonomy, performance, accountability, financial sustainability, and their relationships within the European research community. And in this sense, there is a particular emphasis addressed on performance measurement and performance management at the universities. And at the same time, university is expected to perform in all main activity areas, teaching, research, and also service to society. And therefore, our study was addressed to explore the financial and non-financial information, performance information disclosed by the Estonian universities in 3 main areas of their operation. It means the same teaching, research, and service to society. And main questions concerned about performance information usage within the different stages of performance management cycle in these areas. Also, what are the main performance measures disclosed by the university in these areas, and how the role is performance information is estimated or evaluated in different areas of operation. Timing itself is or was very challenging for us. First of all the universities already since 2005, and also it concerns all public institutions, have to compile strategic development plans, at least for 5 years. And our university compiled our first strategic plan already in 1996. I guess so that we had already some kind of experience to exercise these issues. And nowadays development plan concerns the years 2015-2020. So that has been changed, and substantially changed at the university funding policy. Ministry of Education and universities are discussing the so-called governance agreements for 3 years, so which is splitted into the so-called annual performance agreements. And it's not anymore there, for example, the certain number of student admissions It's only the role of the university already to split it between the faculties, for example. Only the most important strategic issues and the strategic breaks, I would say, should be included into this governance agreement. Also, several institutional accreditation took place in all universities during the last years, and also changes in university governance and organizational structures. And for example, also at our university and also in Tallinn Technological University, highest governance institutions includes external members to have better linkage with the society. At the Tartu University, this highest institution is University Council, which includes 6 members outside from the university and 5 members, 5 internal members, which will or are elected by the areas, so that every area can represent 1 person to this council, plus 1 person will be elected by the Senate of the university. And this governance institution looks a little bit similar to advisory board, but still at the Tartu University it has real power, because all the strategic issues will be confirmed or justified already by this council. It means strategic plan, annual budget, strategic budgets, and also, for example, the guidelines about the allocation of the resources between the areas and between the faculties. Only the guidelines, and then already the certain calculations are going on, and the money will be allocated. So that strategic power is in the hand of University Council. And Senate is only dealing with academic issues. And this council will be led by head of this council, which is external member. Currently it's a female from business area at all, and of course rector is attending all these meetings of the council, but don't have any right to vote. Of course, she can discuss, or he can discuss, and so on, but not as some kind of power over the council. So, what concerns the theoretical framework, then performance measurement issues has been discussed quite so heavily already for years. So, and Professor Lapsley from Scotland argues that performance measurement is a key feature of new public management, which is certain rules also for universities, as it reflects the desired objectives as well as the actual outcomes of the organization. And we use for our study so-called this PDCA cycle, looking on strategic planning, budget reports, and actions afterwards, and the same structure here, and you can see also follow this within the university annual report, for example. So, and several studies on performance measurement and management issues at the universities has been conducted in Sweden, Australia, United States, Germany, China, UK, and several other countries. But there are still very few of them concerning Eastern and Central European countries. And some countries also have implemented balanced scorecard as a one tool for performance management, for example. Performance indicators are important for both, for internal as well as for external users. And we have to split also as financial as well as non-financial measures. And therefore also it's sometimes useful to use the information from university annual reports, which has been also referred for, by several authors. At the same time, German colleague Werner distinguished that performance measurement issues of the universities should be distinguished at two management level at least. First of all, at the university level, in negotiation with the ministry and how the decisions in the field of higher education will affect university activities, and also how the decision on university management level already affect the activities of structural units of the universities. It means faculties and institutes. And we could add here also the abundance idea also to include individual level performance measurement into this framework. And we did certain quantitative analysis, including the performance indicator presented in annual reports of 6 public Estonian universities. We have only 6 public universities. There are several number of private universities, but these are the most bigger ones. 2 of them are in the area of music and art, and rest in agriculture, and more so on social sciences. I mean, the University of Tallinn, Tartu University is the solely classical university with medicine and law and other areas. And there is also University of Tallinn Technology, Tallinn University of Technology, which is also in this Eastern and Central European ranking on the 25th position. So also we studied the performance indicators in strategic documents, in development plans, budgeting strategies, research and development strategies as well. Also, so comparing them with annual reports of non-profit organization Estonian Rectors Council, which unfortunately issued its last annual report in 2014, at least, which is available on website. So, and qualitative analysis already basing on analysis of legal regulations, influencing the performance measurement at the Estonian universities, and also several interviews with experts from these 6 universities. So, excuse me. What concerns the regulatory framework? All Estonian public universities operate as autonomous public legal persons. There is a special act on Tartu University, as Tartu University is a national university. And it means that, for example, in a state budget, or it has a special item, so budget or financial contribution to the Tartu University. So, and there is another item, financial contribution to the Estonian universities, excluding Tartu University, which has their own item. And it means real autonomous in this sense that, for example, all the assets belongs to the university, for example, and university is independent to create different guidelines of management, of study, and so on and so on. Of course, yeah, the Ministry of Education and Research had delegated, let's say, the main responsibilities to the university, but still, of course, the ministry is ruling about the framework and the environment, so education and environment as a whole in Estonia. And also, of course, they are looking on different, let's say, strategic aspects, for example, ordering a number of, or increasing a number of admission and also graduation of IT students, for example, nowadays, or some other so strategic issues. But in general, universities are really so autonomous. Although there is just now going on the process of rewriting of the Act of Universities of Estonia and also higher education, but it's still in a process, but let's see what happens. There are some hints that ministry tries a little bit so diminish the autonomy of the university, but not so substantially. There are just some aspects. Because up to now, I would say that Estonian universities are rarely so autonomous. And of course, rectors are discussing with ministry and so on and so on. So, and several colleagues have been pointed out that central legislation still may play an important role also in change in public sector, and it concerns also the university issues. And what concerns performance measurement and management, there are mainly two acts, Estonian Act on Accounting and these governance and performance agreements conducted between the universities and ministry have a certain role. So, how the accounting is connected with this one? According to the Act of Accounting, all universities, but actually all the organizations and institutions in Estonia in all, so have to prepare annual report, which includes management report as well as annual accounts. And there is a prescription that management report of an Estonian university should disclose the following substantial topics. Overview on organization, overview on operating area and operating environment, overview on main activity areas, teaching, research, service to society, overview on investments, significant events, significant research and development projects, and the main financial ratios of the financial years and the preceding financial year and the methods of calculations of that. This is prescribed what every institution, including university, should disclose. And in all annual reports of Estonian universities, you can find these issues. Excuse me. So, and our general findings from this study. Yeah, all Estonian public universities disclose annual reports on the websites. And I put, you can't see here, but on the slides it's seen, also the address of Tartu University website, just directly to this annual reports, and you can find in English version from 2008, I guess, or even in early up to now. The last one is 2017. So, and annual report Tartu University consists management report on 40 pages with all figures and so on, and another financial statements, it means balance sheet, income statement, cash flow statement and notes on 42 pages. So, long-term development plan for 5 years of Tartu University includes 18 key performance indicators in 4 strategic areas. Means research, lifelong learning and teaching, so developing organization and impact to society. And with all the targeted values and on annual basis looking on how we are step by step succeeding these objectives. And all you can find these in annual report. So interviews revealed that majority of vice rectors, for example, of the universities evaluate the role of all phases of PDCA cycle as highly important. Also for strategic targeting, operative targeting, also the reporting, and for action creation. Actually, the first concept of performance management system at the university, our university was created in 2010 based on balanced scorecard approach, and I had also a great pleasure to cooperate in this sense with Chancellor or in this time of our university, and our faculty was the first one who did it for the faculty level, but at the same time we did it also for the university level. And of course, as I was dean in this sense, several colleagues from other faculties came to me and said, you know, this is a crazy issue. This is a crazy idea. Why we need to measure something? We are dedicated to research. We have the project and we are dedicated to teach. Let us teach and research. Why we have to measure something? And I tried to, together with Chancellor and Rector to convince them that We have to look forward and look to back, and then in dynamics already move further. No? But in 2 years, several former deans or current deans came to me and said, you know, after 3 years, now I understand the role of this performance measurement, and I have the dynamics of the development of the faculty in different areas, because the faculties should also create this system, including somewhere 15, 20 different measures, so let's say at least 10 of them. So, and nowadays it seems that they have already on the process and already understanding the movement and development of every single institute or faculty. And for example, the current performance measurement system also including the performance-based remuneration, which is up to the, in general, up to the 25% of bonus salaries, for example, can include, is implemented on 4 management and accountability levels. First of all, on university level, and on annual basis, rector have a serious discussion with the council of the university, and the council will decide, for example, the percentage of this bonus system to the rector. Next, one step down, all the deans of the areas, 4 of them, have the similar discussion with the rector, basing on the performances or performance measures of the areas, and also partly their salary is depending on this concrete performance of their measures. The same will be repeated on the area, on the level of faculties and institutes. So heads of the faculties have the same discussion with the deans. So, and at our faculty, not still in all faculties, also on individual level, for example, the discussion, first of all, the heads and the chairs, all the discussion between the chairs and head, and then already all the chairs have the discussions, performance discussions with all the colleagues already. And we have, so let's say, the indicators on every single person on research activities, publications, on teaching, on supervising, service to society, and so on. And we are negotiating, for example, the salary for the next year. Of course, I have to take into account, for example, the preparation of the new courses for next year, preparation of the new projects, and so on and so on. But this allocation concerns only the teaching money, so-called. Research projects, they are separate and they are more so project-based. But teaching activities and also service to society are basing on this teaching money, so-called. So what concerns the financial performance indicators in Estonian universities, and basing on the annual reports of 2017, because from some universities 17 was not still available, so let's say, but hopefully it will be appears there in sometimes. What concerns the financial ratios, then general or total number of different ratios is 11, for example. There are also revenue general indicators, revenue indicators of teaching activities, research and development revenue indicators, expense indicators, and altogether you can see that a little bit more absolute value indicators, 46 altogether, and a little bit less ratios. For example, what concerns the financial ratios, which we know already from even textbooks, or accounting textbooks, for example, then liquidity ratios, you can see 2 of them, 4 leverage ratios, which is the biggest number, 1 activity ratio, mainly the relationship between expenses and revenues, for example, 2 profitability ratios, and also 2 general ratios, altogether 11 of them. So, what concerns the non-financial performance measures, then we can, starting with teaching activity, for example, then we can split it into the 3 different areas, and under these areas we merged the indicators into certain groups. For example, under the teaching performance and students, the indicators concerning the number of students on different study levels, for example, altogether 5 different indicators are used. Academic progress in 3 different indicators, and also the graduation level and output, so-called, by 6 different levels. Very important for us is a student satisfaction issue. And for example, we have already, I guess, more than 10 years so-called study information system, and it means all the outputs of the study programs, courses, study materials. For example, at our faculty, all the courses should be covered by electronic conspect, so compiled by the lecturer. So, and it should be uploaded to this system, plus slides and so on and so on. And to every course, actually it's so that to move to the next semester, every student have to assess as minimum 5 courses. Otherwise, it's limited to move to the next semester. So, and there is approximately 10 different aspects which he or she have evaluated, and all the courses and all the members of the lecturing staff will be evaluated. And sometimes we also use this for this remuneration system, but nowadays not anymore. It's influencing the salary, but we have basing this on this negotiation process, for example, and in many or on several cases there are quite so serious discussions with the colleagues just on how to improve, for example, the course to have a better feedback from the students, because students are pretty open, and of course it's our pleasure, for example, looking on that, and we take into account the several issues which are more so needed by the students. And of course also several e-study, although by only assessed by 1 indicator, but quality assessment, internationalization issues, and other issues also are included into this teaching activity measures. Then what concerns the research activity, there is a certain area of doctoral study, and here, of course, the number of 2 different indicators are applied, mainly concerning the graduation level and also the how successful they move through this attestation system, for example. Then research and development resources, grants, research contracts, corresponding personnel, and general research and development performance concerning the certain entrepreneurship issues, conferences, patents, publications, foreign assessments, and so on and so on. And most so uneven area is this performance measurement for service to society, because it's not so clearly defined in different universities, and for example 2 of 6 universities have not distinguished this service to society as their main area of activity within the management reports. And somehow it's more recognized among the teaching activity area, because the universities are more dedicated to retraining courses, for example, and this is connected with teaching. So, but still the main performance areas you can see on this table, for example, regional activities, collaboration with public sector, with private sector, several popularization activities, including also, for example, the newspaper articles and also retraining aspects. So, and coming already to the end, we concluded that using this PDCA cycle, we discovered and revealed that performance information in all main areas, teaching, research, and service to society, have been disclosed in management report of the universities, but service to society indicators have been disclosed in lesser extent. Universities still use more absolute values than ratio values, but this structure is already improving during the last year if to compare current situation with, for example, the situation 5 years ago. Then the financial and non-financial performance indicators are there, but still weakly linked within the performance measurement of the main areas of university operations. And then these interviews also revealed that, for example, the vice rectors or head of the departments need some kind of better guidance, for example, to understand the logic of different methodics for allocation, or also, for example, the indirect cost aspects, for example, was mentioned, and some others. So, legal regulatory requirements continue to serve as a main influential factor affecting the improvements. But these legal acts are regulating different stages of this PDCA cycle, but in very general manner. And therefore, the development of performance measurement system are a little bit uneven and inharmonious and need further improvement, which is just going on in a process. And as it was already discussed here during today's meetings and yesterday, one of the crucial issues is also, in our case, the communication. And first of all, the communication of the planned target and actual performance between the different management level, from top down, from university down to the, so let's say, institute level, and also from institute level up to the university rectorate level. And it means that it really requires the communication as internally within the university as well as the externally. And also through this council system or governance system of our university, we really try to move and turn more to society, not being as some kind of closed community, just which is non-understandable for external community or external society. And of course, this communication also substantially improves the transparency of the university activities, which is highly important in nowadays, because the universities, from one side, we are the colleagues, all the different universities, from other side, we are the competitors. And not only, of course, on Estonian market, it's much more general, and let's say Estonian university, we are mainly competing in Nordic countries. So let's say Finland, Sweden, Norway, Baltic countries, of course, also, and then Russia. So that this is our main market. So, thank you very much.
Thank you for the presentation. I think a university leader must have been very determined to implement such a consistent system. It will be great difficulty in many universities because, as far as I understand, transparency is not always a desired value in many power groups in a university, so that could be sometimes a very different one. But here we have some time for 1 or 2 questions. Is there any question from the audience? Yes.
Thank you very much for your very interesting presentation. I had the feeling that the system is quite complex, and there are a lot of possibilities to gamble it. So you can say, I put all my resources in this field, and then I try to get points here, and I count everything that that is around me and so on. And I thought, don't you lose energy in making the system too complex? Wouldn't it be easier to have only 1 or 3 targets or key, what is it?
Key performance indicators.
Yeah, indicators for each teaching, research, and so on. So that in all you have 10 indicators. And I think you have 120 or so.
No. I'm sorry, because in this sense, what concerns these tables, these numbers, the last volume, for example, this is the total number of all 6 universities of Estonia. What concerns the Tartu University? Solely, it's, we have this 18 key performance indicators for the whole university, but within the faculties or on the faculty level, yeah, the number of key performance indicators is somewhere around 10 maybe. So 8, 10. So.
I thought you have 18 key performance indicators, but then you have a lot of sub-indicators. So the key teaching consists of 40.
Of course, we are measuring very different issues, for example, and on or even on the individual level. Then they are really differently evaluated. For example, we are counting the teaching hours on bachelor level, on master level, on doctoral level, and they will be evaluated differently. Of course, also the supervision, supervising on doctoral thesis, master thesis, bachelor thesis. Also, it means differently.
Sorry, then you have 7 only for the different ways of teaching.
Let's say I can't say that these are just the real measures which we are so looking continuously basis. But our salary system, which is at our faculty, for example, half of the salary is basing on the position and half of the salary is basing on the performance. So, and we are counting, yeah, this because actually we created this so-called performance-based remuneration or salary system already in 1995, our faculty. So, and why we did it? Our reason was quite simple. We started with research, and we included this research aspects concerning the publication. And list of publication rankings included 25 different items, starting with Easy Web of Science, with impact factor over 2 in this time, and then already lower down to the conference abstract. And now our idea was just to initiate people to start to publish in international journals, because our background was connected to the Soviet system, and in Russian it was not anymore possible to publish. It was clear because, let's say, the border was cut off, so in general, and we had to into the Western system, and just to promote this idea and promote it also so in a material way. I mean, on a salary, for example, these issues.
Okay, so but then I think it's important to reinterpret your system as an information system. So it's not only measurement; it's also informing what has to be done to become a research university.
Yeah, sure. I would say that this measurement system and let's say the information system is of course the basis of all that, and only part is this which is also used for the management objectives. Yeah.
To inform the professors. So a system to inform the professors because they know they are rated on the system.
Your professors?
The professors.
Professors. Yeah, sure. Everyone actually will receive. Everyone will receive the record of his performance from previous year. Everyone. It was a really hard work at the beginning of the creation of this system. But if you have already created, of course we have. It's all year by year improved a little bit. Looking around the focuses, for example, tuning some focuses, but the system is the same, for example. And it's just once to create, and then you can use this for years already.
Okay, Renata has a short question.
Thank you very much. I have a question about to what extent the indicators are individualized. So if everybody has to fulfill the same indicators, and maybe, or you know, like I am rewarded if I can be rewarded, let's say, in the same amount of money, but I'm maybe more teaching, less researching. So if there is any flexibility for a personal performance, and maybe how often does my salary change this 50% based on my performance, whether it's like on a yearly basis, or how much can it fluctuate in reality, really?
Thank you. Actually, we are looking over our salaries once per year. It's just in February, and starting the new salary level from March till to the end of the next February. What concerns, for example, this teaching issues, it's on annual basis. But before we had also including this research aspects, and this research aspect was basing on 3 years dynamics. So we took the 3 years performance and moved with this 3 years forward, let's say. Current salary system, as I already explained, is so that half of the salary is basing on this positional position, and half of this performance. Of course, the performance, if you are not, I'm sorry, but if you are not having the courses in this year, or you haven't supervised, or you haven't, for example, attending some kind of commissions or so, probably, then you had a free time for other issues, for research, for whatever. And then you have to perform somehow there. And unfortunately, it's so that if you don't have this performance, your salary will already go down. Of course, if he or she prepares a new course, then it's understandable, and this will be accounted. And just in this year, our university changed, for example, this so-called academical pathway system, in this sense that we are looking so in more flexible way on teaching, on research, also on service to society, and there are certain flexibilities, for example, because before it was also on the university level too, so let's say, or teaching or research oriented, just in research area also too many on this, let's say, Hush index even, or let's say the number of these highest publications, but that there are also going on research projects and other issues. So that flexibility is increasing in our case. What concerns how flexible or how different can be the salaries. Nowadays, not so much, but for example, when we have this complete performance-based issues, then it was, I can say that very often, but still happened that the differences in professor salaries was in taboo. Associate professor could earn more than professor, and some other possibilities. But all this was based on the internal guidelines, and we discussed on our faculty council these guidelines in every detail. So, and then we, in the same council, or not in the same, next time or so, at the faculty council decided what will be the amount of money which will be allocated basing on these guidelines between the different chairs and departments. And that's all. And then came already Excel and calculated all these issues. And when I was a dean, of course, it was before already created. Several colleagues from other universities said to me, Toomas, you're a lucky man. You don't have any problems to somehow to gamble with your colleagues, because you have the very particular rules. And you don't need some kind of back office or back room to discuss someone or to add or to take off some kind of €100 or whatever. All is transparent, everyone can understand and see how his or her performance has been formed. That's all.
Thank you, Professor Haldma, for the presentation and for the questions.
Thank you. So that if you have any more questions or interest, for example, I can send you also some papers concerning already our remuneration system and salary system basing on that. So just let me know by email.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That would be interesting.